Earlier in this hour, we showed you the almost indignant reactions some people have to the super-developed physiques of the bodybuilders. Michelangelo's David used to be the classic model of male perfection, but now today's modern muscle men are challenging that ideal. Well, we're going to show you what bodybuilding is all about, and then you can decide which looks better to you. Oiled, shaved, and on display, the most perfect male bodies in the world. Maybe they don't suit your personal taste, but they are perfection itself by the standards of bodybuilding competition. The people who live inside these bodies work at all kinds of jobs: chiropractor, nightclub owner, football player. All are in daily physical training. They travel the world in pursuit of titles such as Mr. World, Mr. Universe, Mr. Olympia, each one hoping to be adjudged the perfect man. And here's the one the judges find most pleasing: Arnold Schwarzenegger of Santa Monica, California. Born 29 years ago in the Austrian Alps, son of a local police chief. He spent his boyhood at skiing, boxing, weightlifting, soccer. A lifetime athlete. His body has put him on the way to becoming a millionaire.
I was born with an incredible willpower and an enormous positive attitude all my life. I mean, whatever I wanted, I knew I wanted for a reason, because whatever I started, I could see as a finished product. There was never one negative impulse in my last 15 years. Can you imagine you have a doubt that you maybe don't make it? Maybe I will never be a Mr. Universe. That destroys the whole thing. You got to have faith in your vision.
Schwarzenegger's vision paid off in titles: 5 times Mr. Universe, 6 times Mr. Olympia.
I stopped competing a year and a half ago, and there was no reason anymore for me to go on, because people couldn't remember anyway anymore how many world championships I won. Also, my ego was satisfied, and I felt, okay, I proved my point for the last 8 years, and there's nobody who can beat me. And there was nobody in the future who can beat me, so therefore I quit.
For his performance in the movie Stay Hungry, Schwarzenegger received excellent reviews. He wants to be an actor now, but he operates a bodybuilding mail-order business, and he hopes to clean up the image his profession acquired in the pages of comic books.
Charles Adler's courses were great in a way, because it made people exercise. But the advertising campaign did a lot of harm to bodybuilding. It made people believe that men train with weights for the simple reason of impressing girls. It had pictures in there of the guy looking in the mirror and posing, which again gave it the narcissistic image, the image of bodybuilders being narcissistic. It also gave the image of bodybuilders train with weights only because they want to punch out people. And because guys who train with weights have an inferiority complex with their body, and therefore they pick up weights.
Well, is none of that true? I mean, didn't you, when you were 15 years old, say to yourself, I can be the most perfect man in the world, and I can be strong, I can defend myself?
Every kid has this thing that you go through. Although I was like a top soccer player, but I also went through this trip of that you wanted to be strong, you know, like you see those Hercules movies and you see all that and you get impressed by that. You can't wait for the time to be a man. So you think physically you have to, you know, be a man. You know, you can't wait for that. And then, you know, kids grow out of that and go on. I never grew out of it. You know, I wanted to be, you know, a strong man all the time.
Why are bodybuilders always looking in mirrors?
By looking in a mirror, you can find out what is missing in your body. If you should improve one area, or if you should work harder in one area, or if you do an exercise the right way. The specific exercise was for the outside biceps, which is this area right here. Then we do exercises for the inside and exercises for the back arm and hundreds of exercises.
It's for a specific muscle, and
right,
you know
exactly.
that. Are you thinking about that muscle?
Oh, yeah. The mind is right in the muscle. That's the only way to do it, you know.
What are you thinking?
Well, you think about making the muscle grow or making it stronger. You meditate in, you think about mountains and all kinds of things, you know, just to make muscle grow. It's a kind of a feeling which is hard to explain because, you got to go through it to experience it. And all I can say is that, you get addicted to it because it feels so good. And it feels good being in shape. It feels good that your whole body is connected and the mind and body works perfect together.
Is it the kind of thing that I could do?
Oh, yeah, sure. Any person can do it of any age. If it is a woman or a man, it makes no difference. A woman does not get muscles like a man because they have not the male hormones. And therefore, the body will get firm, but will not get muscular the same as a man's body does.
Weight training, contrary to popular myth, doesn't make a body muscle-bound. It increases flexibility and it makes you strong. If you want to compete, it isn't just a matter of lifting a weight. It is reaching toward a physical state called the pump. Pumping up fills the muscle with oxygenated blood. It is concentration, timing, and exertion in a precise workout. It hurts getting there, but they say once you're there, the sensation is almost incomparable. It sounds and has been described as something almost sexual.
Yeah, you can, some people describe it as sexual, some people, whatever is the best way of describing it. I described it many times as that because that's what most people can relate to, is something sexual, so that's why I sometimes say it, for me, pumping up in a gym and having a good workout is maybe the same thing as, having sex with a woman or something like that because, then people say, wow, they must be really feeling good.
When you are working out, are you turning fat into muscle?
No. There's no such thing. Fat doesn't turn into muscles and muscle doesn't turn into fat because there's two different cells in the body. One cell doesn't turn into the other one. That's why it's also wrong when a lot of people say that when you stop working out and you get 40 or 50 years old, your muscles will turn to fat. It can't happen. What can happen is your muscle cells can decrease and maybe fat cells can increase, but one cannot turn to the other.
Can you really change the shape of your body with bodybuilding at any age?
Yeah, at any age, definitely.
Dear me, all that anxiety we've all felt because we didn't look like the Playboy centerfold girl. Could I look like the Playboy centerfold girl?
To me, you look it already.
Thank you, Arnold, but please tell me the truth. Is this possible?
Everybody can reach 100% of their potential. There are certain women, for instance, who do not have naturally the potential of getting big busts. So obviously, they maybe will increase 2 or 3 inches on their bust from weight training, but they will not increase 10 inches. So that's what I'm saying. You can improve, but you cannot, just change it that much.
How did you decide on that form that we now know as Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Way back when I started training, I visualized what my body should look like to be the best in the world. And then when I had this vision in front of me all the time, I then could go after that. You have to have the kind of a mind as a sculptor has, because a sculptor has to do the same thing. He has to look at his art and say, well, it's still not in proportion. I have to take a little bit away here, or I have to put more on here to make it get into proportion. And the same a bodybuilder has to do with his body.
When in training for competition, Schwarzenegger used to lift between 50 to 60 tons each day, building his body to suit a list of 20 contest criteria. Judges are looking for such things as proportion, symmetry, definition, and separation of muscles. In order to make it, you said, in bodybuilding, you try to keep your emotions as low as you can. You want to protect yourself so nothing can get to you. When you want to be a champion, you have to be very cold. I'm quoting you, very cold.
Well, okay, I have to explain to you that this means that especially the 2 or 3 months before a competition, you should keep your emotional level to a low. When you get involved, for instance, 2 months before a competition with a woman, and you fall in love, and that energy, falling in love, takes away from your energy in the gymnasium, then obviously that's going to hurt your progress. So therefore you have to again find out or ask yourself, what do you want in your life? Do you want to fall in love? Do you want to be married? Do you want to have children and go on with the everyday life like all the other millions of people do? Or do you want to be the one person who is the best? So therefore you have to cut this off and go your road and don't go sidetracked. Stay cold.
I don't want to get too personal, but do you mean to say that when you go cold 2 months before a competition, does that mean no sex either?
No. I never cut out my sex life. I mean, that never was one very important thing always for me.
Do you find that that the women that you're attracted to have perfect bodies too?
No, not at all. I get turned on over all kinds of different women, you know.
Very beautiful women sometimes feel that they're admired for the wrong reason. Does that happen to you?
If they just want me for my body, it's great, you know. I get the same satisfaction out of it, you know. I mean, there's no sexual relationship that I have with a woman that she gets everything out of it and I nothing. So I'm perfectly satisfied if she just wants me for my body, you know.
You don't mind being a sex object?
No, not at all. I don't feel like that at all.
Has anybody ever asked you to do a porno film?
Yeah, man. If I would get $1 for each time I was asked to do one, I would be multi-millionaire already by now.
But you wouldn't do it?
No, that's not the kind of films I want to get into now.
Now you want to be the best actor, too?
Yeah, I would like to be, you know, a good actor.
Aren't homosexuals attracted to bodybuilders? I'm sure that many times homosexuals do approach you indirectly or directly. How do you feel about that?
I don't feel negative about it. I don't feel anything about it really, because it's understandable, you know, if somebody is a homosexual, that he will be attracted to that kind of a body. But you see, a lot of people think that bodybuilders are homosexuals. You know, just a male dealing with his body. A lot of people think that means that you're a homosexual, at least a latent homosexual. Generally,
we don't look at the male body and say, that's perfection. Mm-hmm. I mean, the male body has never been in vogue. Should it be?
Yeah, I think you should do the same thing with the male body as with the female body, of course. But like I said, you know, the male body was not something that attractive to look at. I mean, people always looked at the male body and said, well, it should not be exposed. You know, it should be hidden away. It is always, people are always kind of... male is always kind of scared of exposing the body or dealing with the body, because just it was always a female's job to, you know, to deal with the beauty and to deal with the body. And the male was always just, you know, hiding away. And I think it will change slowly here.
What happens to the perfect man once he drops out of bodybuilding competition? Arnold Schwarzenegger runs every day and he works out for an hour at the gym. When he came to New York last week to help publicize Pumping Iron, a bodybuilding film, he was asked by Jamie Wyeth to pose for a portrait. Since he retired from competition, Schwarzenegger has lost a few pounds and gained a few inches here and there. But he is still being promoted as a man with a perfect body. After this time out for some messages, we'll be back to update some of the stories we've covered on Magazine.
Now, if you're interested in learning more about Vince Gironda's approach to bodybuilding, his principles, and all these tips of wisdom that he has, I mean, there's so much stuff that probably hasn't been proven by science, and it will take science to prove or disprove Vince. But to be honest, these 3 books, I believe, which I call the Classic Physique Bundle, are the best books that Vince ever came out with. And they, of course, are the Wild Physique, the Master Series, and the Pro Series. Have a look at it this way. The Wild Physique, I believe, is like the ABCs of Vince Gironda's principles to bodybuilding. He teaches you the exercises and his principles. But how do you put them together? Well, the Master Series is a 14-month program of using all of these principles, all of the diets that Vince came out with, all of the exercises. And believe me, it's a brilliant, brilliant program. Many people have used it. I know personally a lot of bodybuilders that have actually used it and made fantastic results with it. And of course, the Pro Series was a book that he came out with later on, specially targeted for getting into competition. It's just these 3 books, as I call it, the Classic Physique Bundle, Vince's best work, and available, of course, at www.goldenerabookworm.com. Now, the Pro Series of Bodybuilding, which was targeted for professional bodybuilders, contains 6 programs, each of which go for 2 months each. So it's a whole year, again, in preparation for competition. Online training is now available, including my new program, Novice to Classic, a program geared towards beginners and novices looking at developing a classic physique, as well as Classic Cut, geared at those who wish to lose weight and gain muscle fast. Details available at www.goldeneraBooking.com. Need a bodybuilding poster for your gym or office? Then check out Iron Man Magazine archive.smugmug.com for the highest quality posters on the planet. Scroll through the galleries of all the legends, including greats such as Arnold, Frank Zane, Sergio Oliva, Serge Nubret, Tom Platz, and Larry Scott, and much, much more, and select your poster now. Your favorite YouTube channel, please visit teespring.com/stores/goldenerabookworm for merchandise, including t-shirts, hoodies, face masks, phone cases, and much, much more. Once again at teespring.com/stores/goldenerabookworm. Become a patron at www.patreon.com/goldenerabookworm for hard to find books, scans of rare photos, and articles on the golden era of bodybuilding. To take full advantage of my collaborations, use code GEB20 with NSPnutrition.com and VinceGironda.com, as well as code Bookworm12 at OSL.com for a discount at checkout.
I don't think that Bill Phillips looked at it as, I want to compete against them. I want to destroy them.
If they pass legislation basically making any type of food supplement a prescription item, that would be the end, the death of the entire food supplement industry.
Take your vitamin pill now.
In the 1960s, the sports supplement industry was barely emerging.
I think the reason why Joe Weider was so successful was he had Arnold on his side.
He wasn't selling supplements. He was in the dream business.
Joe Weider was a marketing genius.
People would say the promotions or the endorsements back then were cheesy. To me, it wasn't. I loved it.
Fitness was taking off. You know, fitness became cool. You had a lot of readers that wanted to be like the stars that they idolized.
Bill's strength is his marketing savvy. He's a marketing genius.
Got it. It's only vitamin.
The right of American citizens to have free access to dietary supplements of their choice.
Consult your physician. You might as well consult the next guy you meet on the street. They don't know a damn thing about vitamins and nutrition.
The dietary supplement industry became the #2 most regulated industry. Nuclear, dietary supplements, pharmaceutical. We're more regulated than drugs.
They come in and you need to allow the FDA. They have jurisdiction.
The enforcement is kind of the questionable side of it, and how do they really get a handle on this monster?
A lot of people tell me that the dietary supplement industry is completely unregulated. It's the wild, wild west out there. It's a free-for-all. That could not be further from the truth.
A dietary supplement is not allowed to have a side effect. I always say that pharmaceutical has to have a minimum of 100 side effects in order for it to be a drug.
And now, it's a $40 billion industry and growing.
That's the really interesting thing, is the cast of characters from the 80s, when it was kind of iffy, to now when it's a lot more legitimate.
They made it sound cutting edge, revolutionary, and different, and I want that. That's cool.
We are in this industry to improve our health. It's not just a vanity project here. We're working on our lifeline. We eat a certain way to improve our health. We train a certain way to improve our health. Supplements are just that. They supplement your work, your graft, your nutrition.
They demonize dietary supplements, but they say all you need is real food. Well, what's a real food?
They pump you up and get you hard, stronger, faster, bigger.
Doc, I want to take this weight gain. I want to take this pre-workout. Doctor's, no way. That stuff, we don't know what's in that. It could be, no way. I'm not going to give you, it's going to kill the industry, bottom line.
So I must have drank so much protein powder from age 15 to 18 that my head was going to explode.
I believed in metrics so much that I would probably punch somebody in the face if they tried to take it away from me.